There are 1.3 billion Chinese people, and they're on the move further and more frequently than ever before. This month, we're in Beijing. Welcome to CNN Business Traveller. I'm Richard Quest, this month reporting from the Chinese capital, Beijing. The world's airlines are fighting for the skies overhead. The hotel chains are jockeying for position on the ground because everyone knows China will soon be the largest travel market in the world. In a moment, from hotels to airlines, a roll call of chief execs tells us why China is their #1 priority. Flight CZ303 from Guangzhou has just landed at London's Heathrow. It's the first ever direct link from China's industrial powerhouse to the British capital.
Welcome to London, sirs.
This is China Southern's new route, a powerful and fitting symbol of the staggering rise of Chinese airlines, Chinese cities, and Chinese travelers. China's enormous population is getting richer and more mobile, with GDP growing at 8% a year. And with the growing middle class comes a new generation of travellers. The number of Chinese travelling outside the country has risen to 65 million a year. The pattern repeats with inbound visitors. By 2030, the number of travellers to, from and through China will reach 1.5 billion. First in line to reap the rewards are China's big three airlines. Already, they make up 75% of the huge local market, and they have big plans for international expansion.
We won't
let go of either market. On the one hand, we want to consolidate our domestic market. On the other hand, we are avidly developing our international business. Just last month, we announced the purchase of 20 Boeing 777s, priced at nearly $6 billion. This move clearly shows that in the foreseeable future, we'll pay more attention to the long-distance international market.
When the heads of airlines recently gathered in Beijing, everyone was well aware of the importance and opportunity presented by China's growth.
By 2030, China will have more air travellers than America, over 1 billion. So it's very important for anyone in the travel supply chain to understand it better and react to it.
The world's largest airline, United, has served China since 1983, operating 77 weekly flights to and from the US.
China's always in a nice pile on my desk because it also generates a nice pile of money, and in my business, nice piles of money tend to draw my attention.
European airlines with long-standing routes into China's big cities are now discovering the profits to be made flying further afield to tertiary cities and provincial capitals.
Even a slight and tiny increase of welfare for everybody in these secondary cities means that thousands and thousands, 10,000s of people for the first time in their lives have the ability to buy airline tickets, and that's where also business is developing and bringing business travelers.
Hong Kong-based Cathay Pacific is ideally placed to connect Chinese passengers. As of 2009, with an equity partnership with Air China.
Obviously, we're not going to be as big as some of the huge Chinese carriers, but we think we can play a significant role. And that doesn't mean just Beijing and Shanghai. You know, heretofore, all the flights have been Beijing and Shanghai. We're talking about secondary and tertiary destinations, Hangzhou, Nanjing, Wenzhou, all these places where we think Hong Kong will be a very convenient connecting point.
Australia's Qantas has also been forging ties. The airline's strategic partner, in this case, China Eastern.
We think by 2020, 30% of all visitors to Australia will be Chinese. That's massive. And we're working closely with China Eastern Airlines in expanding our partnership with them. The future for us is absolutely Asia.
Here at IATA, the airlines are joined by the plane manufacturers who have challenges of their own. Take Boeing, for example. They recently opened a new parts factory in China. After 4 decades of business here, China will soon be Boeing's biggest customer.
I think our strategy, if you want the essence of it, we want to be a partner. We want to be somebody that does more than just come over here and sell an airplane and take the money and leave. We want to be part of China, and I think we're viewed that way.
Boeing has forecast that China and its airlines will need 5,000 new planes in the next 2 decades. So it makes sense politically, economically, geographically to make many of the parts right here. The Chinese government may have other plans, launching their own rival manufacturer, Comac, in 2008. And the concern at Boeing is what political pressure there'll be for Chinese airlines to buy them.
The Chinese airlines have to compete internationally. And if they're going to compete internationally, they have to have the best hardware. They have to have the best airplanes. I don't think the Chinese government is going to disadvantage the Chinese airlines by making them fly inferior products. Now, will there be a policy where domestically they have to fly some Comac airplanes? Probably so.
Amid all the numbers, the hype, the promise, and the profits, there is only one fact which remains constant. China is a growing market, and everyone has to be part of the game.
Thank you.